All right, what's going on? My name is Bon, and today I'm going to be talking about how I took $0 and turned it into $3 million in less than a year and a half doing organic dropshipping and Facebook ads. So, this is going to be a super raw video. I'm just going to be documenting my entire journey, and I'll be revealing all of my products. So, stick to the end because there's a lot of sauce to be dropped here, and I'm going to be telling you the whole transparent story of how I did all of it. Now, it all started when I was about 16 years old. I looked on YouTube on how to make money online, and I came across dropshipping, and it was something that kind of stuck with me because I'm more of a creative person. And I started doing Facebook ads through following ecom tutorials on YouTube. And the first few products that I tested were really weird. Like the first one was an eyebrow pencil, which was a makeup pen for women, which I know nothing about. But actually following YouTube tutorials alone was enough to actually get me my first sale, which made me realize that this was a legitimate way I could make money for the rest of my life. And I was ready to just drop everything and focus on it. Obviously, as an Asian kid, my parents wouldn't let me focus on such businesses without continuing school. So on the side, I was also balancing school. And my first few products I tested, I ended up coming across my first winner, which actually made me 300K in revenue, which sounds like a lot, but one of the biggest mistakes I made was actually fulfilling without the supply, and my supplier wasn't able to keep up with the sheer volume I was actually selling, and it ended up just having me lose most of that money. I was supposed to have an $80,000 margin out of the 300K after ad cost net, and I lost about 50, 60,000 of that due to refunds because customers were really upset about the fact that they weren't getting their product on time. So number one, already starting with a big mistake. And then I got banned on Facebook, which led to me not being able to do ecom anymore because at the time there was no organic marketing. That wasn't really a thing. And Facebook ads was the main way to really sell products. So because of that, I decided to go back into school to figure out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, whether it was to get a 9 to 5 when I graduate and try to make 6 figures a year, or if I could somehow do something on the side later on, but it just wasn't a possibility for me at the moment because of the circumstances. So with that said, I started doubling down on school for the next 3 to 4 years. But the thing is, it all changed when my dad said one day that I had to move out soon and that I might have to start supporting my own living. And obviously, as a student, to hear that was like, whoa, like I'm going from living in my parents' house to all of a sudden I need to take on all these expenses myself. And I was nowhere near to finding a job that I was going to be satisfied with. And there were opportunities for me. Like I worked in small companies here and there doing their marketing, which was directly in line with actually the things that drop shipping taught me. So most of the things I was working was already in line and I didn't want to really move towards working under someone. So I decided, why don't I just go back on YouTube, do my research and see what is new and available for me in dropshipping. And that's when I stumbled across Mikey Again's YouTube channel, which if you didn't know already, he's one of the biggest dropshippers in the organic space. And he detailed his journey going from rags to riches doing organic dropshipping, which organic dropshipping is when instead of doing paid ads, you make viral videos on social media and capitalize on the virality and drive traffic with a link in your bio to a website, which in turn drives sales, which you can then fulfill just like how you normally do on Facebook ads, but it costs $0 to start because all you're really doing is buying the product from AliExpress and making videos from home. You're not paying for ad budgets or anything. You're just making an account on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, and you're literally posting videos across all three platforms in hopes to go viral. So after starting product research again, I failed a couple products, but the first winner I came across was the Turbojet. Now this was a super small handheld fan that was about this big, but it had the air capacity output of like a leaf blower, and the wow factor was so insane with this product that people were thinking that it was fake, but eventually people realized it was real and the sales started kicking in really well. And I was doing about 30, 40K at a time when I decided to join the same mentor that taught Mikey again, which is Michael Bernstein's program. And when I hopped on a call with Michael and the coaches, Jacob, they basically critiqued my product and told me a lot about what the good and the bad are, which I had no idea to because I didn't have the experience like they did. And they were able to see the blind spots in my business that I wasn't aware of. And just some small changes on my website, like checkbox upsells and fixing my urgency in general, it was able to generate me exponential amounts of revenue, which I would not have done without their help. So it immediately broke even the program cost for me, and I decided to stay in the program. And that's how I came across my second winner, because when I stayed in the program, they taught me how to do product research. And instead of just having them tell me what's a winning product and what's not a winning product, I was going to these mentors every single day and essentially giving them a list of products that I found online, and they would critique me on whether they're good or bad finds. But because I wasn't just using them as a yes or no tool, I was genuinely treating it like school and learning by asking questions about what makes this good, what makes this bad. I was really expediting the process of learning, and eventually I got down the criteria that they kind of look for when they look at good products, which allowed me to kind of take on a similar eye as the coaches. And once I did that, I found my second biggest winner, which was Spidey Face. Spidey Face was the world's first blinking Spider-Man mask, and although it sounds really weird, and I actually didn't really watch a Spider-Man movie ever at the time, I just knew that I myself have never seen a blinking Spider-Man mask in my life, and I also knew that that was a feature on the character in the movies, which was very unique to have on a mask because that's a hard feature to apply onto a toy. So because it was the first time I saw that, I knew that there was the wow factor behind it and that the effect of being the first to show something on TikTok always usually leads to going viral if the thing that you're showing for the first time is really, really cool. And so I immediately ordered the product, and only after like a month or two of running it, I think I hit my first six-figure months. And from that, I scaled hard. I never pushed it on Facebook ads because I'm pretty sure the product violates Facebook's policies in terms of copyrights and stuff. But that's why TikTok organic and organic marketing in general is such a gray area, because you're able to operate on products like this and make sales in a niche that normally you can't run on Facebook ads. And so I scaled the hell out of this product, and eventually, I think if I pull up the dashboard, we are over 400K in sales for this one. And this was my first big winner. It gave me my first big break, which changed my life a lot, because I went from having $2,000 to $3,000 in my bank at each moment given my day-to-day life, but all of a sudden now I have $50,000 in my bank, $100,000 in my bank. And that on its own is the biggest change in life, because now instead of making my own food, I'm able to order food and then also spend more time doing business with the time that I gained back. And it was just exponentially growing me as a person in general, just having the ability to scale my business and make that my main focus. So after Spidey Face popped off, I knew that I wanted something bigger. I wanted something that was capable of being brandable, because Spidey Face, at the end of the day, it's owned by Disney, right? And you can't scale a brand that is under something like that. And it was just not sustainable. So I knew it was a quick cash grab. Don't get me wrong, the cash grab was huge, but it's not something that I could count on for the rest of my life. So I decided to focus on something that was more in my alley. And what I ended up doing was, one day I came across a dropshipping video showing off a pair of night vision goggles. Now, if you guys don't know what night vision is, if you've seen every action movie, SEAL Team 6 will bust down doors in Afghanistan. They have this green screen on or whatever. You've probably seen in the Call of Duty missions. It's essentially goggles that allow you to see at night with a green hue. And it sounds really simple, but it's actually really cool when you use one in real life. And I myself, as you can clearly see, am a gun enthusiast, and although I'm Canadian, I love guns and I've shot guns all my life, and I love the tactical world. And so my For You page naturally was catered towards me, and I noticed a video pop up one day which was showcasing a night vision goggle. But the thing I realized was the fact that it wasn't even that special. It was just because they were showing night vision goggles on TikTok for the first time. And because of that, the video went viral. And that's where I saw a crazy opportunity. So making it work on organic dropshipping really comes down to two things. One, being able to go viral, and two, being able to have a product that converts. And the viral pillar really consists of either you have a lot of wow factor or it's super shareable. And this product had a lot of wow factor at the time because not many people were showing night vision goggles on TikTok. So to the general audience, it looked really, really cool. And so I knew that was going to go viral 100% because there was already a proven concept. And I just needed to know whether it would convert. And I decided to create a product that would convert. And the reason I knew how I could do it was because I was in the niche myself looking for such a product at the time, which was a pair of night vision goggles that were affordable. And if you didn't know already, night vision goggles usually cost up to $2,000 to $3,000 a piece, and they're not cheap equipment because the military uses it. And I wanted to make one that was available to civilians at basically like a fraction of the price. And it sounds like a crazy stretch, but I knew it was possible because I already knew there was some sort of thing online that was already like this available, but it just needed a couple changes. So I ended up going on AliExpress and finding a supplier that fit my best criteria for the tech that I knew was going to work. And I basically told the supplier to modify the product. I'll probably make a full video detailing exactly how I did this, but I basically ended up negotiating it, coming across the exact design, drawing all of it for them, and getting the first sample. And when I got it, it was crazy because I was holding my own very invention in my hands, which then became my biggest winner at the time. Now, the initial launch was crazy. I made a couple videos on my own, knowing that it was already going to go viral with the concept that I initially saw, and it worked. But what was really crazy was when I hopped on a call with one of my coaches in the program at the time, and he told me exactly what to do because he saw a video format that composed of showing different lightsabers lighting up at the same time, which was basically a retention tactic because the person would turn on the lightsabers one at a time and take their sweet time until it revealed the last one at the end, which was usually the most expensive one, which kept audiences watching all the way to the end. And if you didn't know already on TikTok, if you're able to retain an audience for up to 30, 40 seconds and 40, 50% of the people are still watching, your video is going viral because TikTok favors videos that keep people watching on their platform. And so I made that video and remade it by comparing night vision goggles and then threw mine in the middle as one of the budget alternative options. And people were going crazy. Like, how can I get the one in the middle? And so that's where all the link in bio starts happening. And I started driving traffic to the website. And immediately we were picking up and going crazy. We were doing six-figure months once again, but this time it was multiple six figures. And in only a matter of time, I was able to scale this brand to 400 or 500K. And eventually this brand actually made it really high on organic. Like, we did over $1 million in organic alone on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, over 100K subs on multiple accounts on YouTube. And what really stood out about this product was because I had exclusive rights to it, or at least so I thought. Because what happened was, one of my biggest mistakes was I didn't sign a contract with the supplier. So he was actually backdooring my goods to like suppliers in China, thinking that it would be fine. But these very suppliers would then sell my product and give it to dropshippers in North America. And so then people in the program and other people started being able to run it, which was a huge flaw that I could have prevented simply by signing a contract, which I shouldn't have omitted. And so that ended up happening and it sucked. But even though people were getting millions of views with my product, I was the one that was able to sell it and lead the pack the most because I knew the product best, given that it was my expertise. And so I ended up scaling way past everyone else, and it just blew my competition out the water. And it was basically free game. And eventually I went on Facebook ads. And you might be wondering, how did I get back on Facebook ads? Because I was permanently banned. Like, I literally went to, before, like, coffee shops to sign up new accounts on a brand new Chromebook that I bought from Best Buy, trying to make a new Facebook ads account just to get banned the next day. What happened was Michael actually had a contact that set up a structure for me on my own home laptop that allowed me to basically run a proxy account on Facebook, which sounds really, really complicated, but there's actually a step-by-step guide on how to do this in the program. And if you need it, just feel free to follow my Instagram, DM me guide on Instagram. I'll leave my Instagram in the bio, and then I'll tell you how to do this whole VPS structure. Basically, this allowed me to get back on Facebook ads in literally less than 2 days. And I took my winning product on organic, which I see as the launch pad of all brands, and then scaled it with the budget that I've made on Facebook ads. And now that I have a $100,000 budget to play with, man, it was crazy, because as soon as ads started working, I was able to just turn the budget up, and it scaled like magic. It was a money printer. It was exponentially returning with the budget I was putting in. And so that's really how the brand blew up. I ended up getting to over $2.6 million now to this day, over a year and a half later, in revenue on that single brand alone. And like, again, I'll go through some of my biggest mistakes here. Was one of them was not signing the NDA and the non-competes, which I should have done from the very beginning because I was naive at the time. I've never had that experience. And the next biggest mistake, though, is actually not getting on Amazon. Now, this is something that nobody really talks about in the organic space, because Amazon is a whole different game. It literally takes a whole nother skill set. It's nothing like Google Ads, Facebook ads. There's trademarking involved. There's all these processes, buying MOQ of your inventory and sending it over. It's just a hassle and very not beginner friendly. But I wish someone was there to guide me at the time, because I did have the budget to do so. And that is why in the program right now, I teach students how to scale their brands on Amazon, which is also a service I offer outside of the program. So if you do want that service, you can feel free to send a DM on Instagram. If you have a brand that's doing at least 1K days, you might qualify. So just send me a message, and it is a scaling service that I offer. But essentially what Amazon does is, when you throw your product on Amazon, you drive so much external traffic onto the platform and sell so many units, you basically climb to the top of the ranking. And when you have a high search volume product and you climb to the top, you're essentially going to be getting so much organic Amazon traffic from people just searching such product on Amazon, and also people that are searching your brand name on Amazon, because they always prefer to buy on Amazon since it's a trusted process. They can return easily and all that. So Amazon was something that I did later on, which still worked, but not as well as I hoped to be, because one of our students that I teach, because I currently coach in Michael's program now, actually ended up doing 250K a month extra just on Amazon, because it brings up like this exponential revenue stream from all these untapped customers naturally searching for product in your category on Amazon. So yeah, that was a big mistake I made. And also the scaling without supply. I did it again. Like, you'd think I would learn once, but it happened again. But this time I really tried to not let it happen. I had my supplier tell me like, oh, it's all going to be ready. And I trusted my supplier because he's never had a problem fulfilling on time. He was a fast fulfillment. But because I was scaling on Facebook ads this time, it was a little different. And this, during Black Friday season, I was doing like 100K weeks. I was doing like 20K days. So it got to a point where my supplier wasn't able to handle the sheer volume I was putting out once again. And unfortunately, I got a bunch of chargebacks. But there is this app that really saved me with the chargebacks that we also release and teach in the program. Essentially, this app automatically handled the chargebacks for me in a way where it didn't disable my payment processors like it did last time. And also, because I was using a reputed agency ad account on Facebook, it didn't get banned as easily. So I never had a problem there. But nonetheless, again, like, if you're going to scale on Facebook ads or even on organic, you got to make sure your supplier can really handle the sheer volume that you're going to be selling, because if they can't, then you're just going to get hit with a bunch of chargebacks and potentially cause yourself to be permanently banned. And then you'll have to go through all these complicated processes to just dropship again, which is literally where most people give up in dropshipping. And another thing is, I didn't exit the brand soon enough. Now, we don't really talk about brand exits much in this space enough, I think, because brand exiting is really, really one big way you can get a lump sum of money and walk and start the next venture. I was getting quoted $1.7 million on certain platforms for my exit valuation. And essentially, this just plays in again as another form of greed, because I thought I could get all this money for it, which I didn't actually pull the trigger at the time because I was so confident in my brand. looking back, it would have been better to exit for anything less than a mil, even anything 500K plus, but I didn't do it. And right now, I guess I continue running my brand because of it. But it would have been more optimal to exit, because that way I can focus on new ventures, but at the same time get that lump sum right away. At the same time, I had a lot of emotional connection with my brand because it is in my niche and I'm really passionate about it. So it was hard for me to let go, and I do enjoy running it still, and that's why I don't really mind staying in it. But it is a lesson to be learned for others. And one last thing is accounting failure. I messed up my numbers a lot. I don't really like math. I hate keeping track of numbers. And something that you should definitely do is keep track of every receipt, every invoice, and get invoice for every large expense over $200, because those add up and those need to be written off in your accounting later on with your tax of your government or whatever. And if you don't keep track of your receipts, you're just going to not be able to write it off, and you'll lose out on a lot of money during tax season. So those are the biggest mistakes I made through running all of my brands, but mainly you learn it all on your biggest brand. So on the third brand, I learned it because that's where I really took it to the moon. And some of the key takeaways that really got me there was, number one, content is king. Like if you're running Facebook ads or organic, regardless of whatever, you need to be putting out volume. Like I'm talking a lot. Like I used to test maybe like 2 Facebook ad creatives and spend my whole life, like that's an exaggeration, but spend a lot of time doing each creative, which in reality, it's really about volume and quality in a balance. You want to be able to put out so many videos, but at the same time maintain the quality of standard. And that brings me up to the second point of outsourcing work and automation, because it gets to a certain point where a lot of people don't want to hire more people because it increased costs, but you actually have to analyze it from a cost benefit perspective of the amount of money you're potentially losing out on by not hiring more people to offload time onto the small tasks that don't really bring value to your company, such as customer support. I used to do all of it myself, and ever since I started scaling, even by my first brand, I was getting VAs from the program, I was getting contacts, and all these things are just now getting outsourced, and I no longer have to handle it myself. And that frees up so much time for me to focus on creatives. And I eventually got to the point where I started working with some of my friends, like Joe, you guys might know him from the program. He basically teaches dropshipping now because I brought him into the space. But throughout the whole time, I kind of coached him from zero, and from scratch. I was able to teach him how to make good creatives, and he was able to take over a lot of the creative making for my business. And because of that, I was able to scale exponentially, have way more output on my content side. And I got to say, that was one of the biggest difference makers that probably a lot of people are not doing. Because if I were just to give you an example, when I run a new product, I test 4 ad sets on Facebook with minimum 4 creatives inside each ad set. So that's 16 creatives just to start. And most of the creatives are really different from each other, because I like to diversify the different styles of creatives, because the more diverse you are, the more likely you are to get lucky with one. And then you can make variations of that one creative to really optimize that one and make it better. So that's one of those key takeaways that are really important. And again, like focusing on distribution and not quality when making your product. If you're custom making your product, really don't spend too much time making your product perfect. As long as it's not going to be a quality issue where people always want a refund, make it generally okay, because usually the first 1 or 2 products that you launch aren't going to be that perfect for your brand. And it's usually the customer feedback that helps your brand grow. And so that was something that I did right. I didn't focus too much on quality. I focused on distribution. And now we're doubling down on quality, making these new models. And again, like don't get greedy, satisfy your customers. Don't scale when you can't fulfill. One of those biggest takeaways that I would say. And moving forward, I'm just scaling more brands and going into more brands, moving into like different niches in general, and replicating my formula. And what my formula is, before I end the video, which is actually probably the most important part, if you guys stuck all the way to the end, if you were starting from scratch all over again, this is exactly what I would do. Number one, you need to understand what makes a good product. Really study that. Now, I'm going to be putting out some videos in the future, so subscribe, because I'm going to detail exactly what my product research criteria are and how I come across my winners. And the reason I can't stress this enough is because finding a good product is your vehicle. If you were in a race against other cars and you were driving a Honda Civic and other people have Lamborghinis, it doesn't matter if you are an amazing driver. The guy with the Lambo, if he's decent, he will beat you and lap the shit out of you. So that's the whole idea of how products work. You need a good product to make it work in dropshipping. And a lot of people focus on running the wrong products. And that's why in the program, they really stress that, and they teach you how to find good products. And now that I coach in the program, it's actually some of the things that I focus on. And so, yeah, number one, understanding what a good product is, how to find it, finding the good product, and then negotiating the best deals and cost minimizing in order to have the highest margins. And then also maximizing your average order value when you are building your store so that you can get the most out of it, whether you're running organic or Facebook ads, because you want to make the most out of every order. Every time that you make a store and you're not maximizing your average order value by having upsells, before cart, after cart, whatever, after that person's purchase, they might not come back. So you just lost out on the revenue that you could have made by having extra upsells on the side. So this is all really important stuff. And then so next thing is ensuring product quality. Now I know it's something that I said, like make sure your distribution is king, but you don't want to have a product that is obviously going to cause a bunch of refunds. So you obviously want to have one yourself first and make sure that it's good. And you usually will because you're going to be filming with it. And launching through organic. And that's something that has been very controversial. I've heard a lot of people in the space actually hate organic. Now, obviously, if you have 50 to 100K sitting in your bank account, organic might not be for you. Facebook ads could be a lot easier because you'll be able to just use your money to make more money if you know what you're doing. But for those that have no experience in dropshipping and want to get started, organic is one of the safest ways. And the only thing you're losing out on is your own time, because you're investing your own time to make videos that might not work or will work. And at the end of the day, if you're not already making money, your time is basically worthless, as how I was at the time. I wasn't making any money. So the only other thing I would be doing was school. So yeah, organic allows you to do that and get started without spending much other than ordering the initial product to test. And you can get viral and scale your brand into millions of views and eventually make hundreds of thousands of dollars. So organic, in my opinion, is an amazing and excellent way for beginners to start nowadays. And afterwards, you use the funds to scale on Facebook ads. This is where I totally agree with the people saying scale on Facebook, because Facebook is a money printer. If you have a good product and you are able to make really good creatives, because maybe you came from the organic space and you naturally know how to make really good videos, you'll crush it on Facebook with a good product that you can bring over from organic. So that's where like the money really multiplies itself and the whole system starts to fully automate. And using after that, you would probably use your profits to hire a team and automate the process, whether that be for organic, where you hire a bunch of creators. In the program, we offer a bunch of creators to actually take over your business and make the videos for you, or you can hire people to do media buying for you, make your ads for you on Facebook ads, and manage all your things and take over your whole customer support process, all this stuff. The whole business can be automated. I feel like dropshipping is one of those things genuinely that are a truly automatable business model, because once you get to a certain point where your business is stable and you actually have developed a sustaining brand, you have the choice to either exit for a large lump sum or just keep it running if it's so profitable. And that's why like I urge people to get on Amazon if they're making 1K days, because Amazon is like the end game. Like once you're on Amazon, you're ranked high, you're there forever, and you're just going to stick there if you've got traffic constantly moving. So being able to build a sustaining business model off of that. And after you build an entire self-sustaining system, it's just keeping good records of your accounting and looking for an exit. And that's really it. And all that is done once and you repeat it all over again, and it's just money on money on money. So that is why I'm here. This is my first video really documenting exactly how I got here, to maybe share a little bit about my credentials. But moving forward, I'm going to be posting a lot of videos detailing the exact breakdown of things I did in each brand and what increased a lot of revenue for me and all the mistakes that I made and how I would fix them. And also the minor problems here and there. So if you guys have questions, throw them in the comments and maybe I will take reference from them and make my future video on them. So feel free to leave some there and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.